Fair, spoiler-free reviews of the newest films. Vaughn on Movies.
Brought to you by Angelero's debut album, due out in September. When New York City's most destructive, honored cops Danson and Highsmith, The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson respectively, are out of action, the city must turn to the other guys. Meet officers Alan Gamble, Will Ferrell, and Terry Hoyt's Mark Wahlberg. Gamble is a by-the-book career desk cop, while Hoyt's is his annoyed partner essentially banished to this fate for shooting a local hero. The two try to step their game up to impress Captain Gene, played by Michael Keaton, and become the city's new heroes. The Other Guys is classic Will Ferrell, but it's not without its missteps.
The world's toughest movie critic.
There are several gags and supporting performances that produce laughs. Among my favorites are Eva Mendes as Alan's plain wife, and having a taste for lion, I'm never going to look at a soup kitchen the same way again. The star of the show is Ferrell. Alan Gamble's a lot like Frank the Tank minus the beer, but once you get him wound up, he's like Frank after a keg stand. Unfortunately, Mark Wahlberg has sparse material. I get that Hoyt is supposed to be the straight guy, or at least that's what I thought. Going from tough guy to ballet dancer just didn't quite work for me. Another thing bothering me is the plot, or lack thereof. There's this shallow metaphor about Wall Street bailouts, and the guy our protagonist is after is Bernie Madoff. Writing the villain's role this way is supposed to take eyes off the fact that the other guy's plot makes about as much sense as Inception's while being just as overly complicated. But unlike Inception, the goal here is not to challenge the audience. The story's just an excuse to send Mark and Will into comic mischief. And before I give out my final score, I have to give a shout out to Reginald Holder for answering this week's Pop Quiz Hotshot trivia question. Be sure to look for those on Twitter, Sundays, midnight Central Time. The unfortunate truth, and as I had expected, the duo we want this movie to be about is The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. These guys were splitting my sides, but maybe they couldn't maintain this level for the whole movie. As is, I give The Other Guys a respectable 2.5 out of 4 stars. I'll see you guys next week when I review The Expendables, and possibly Eat, Pray, Love as well.